Hi everybody, welcome to Northern Fill Running and welcome to Thrunton Woods. We're here today to meet Alex McClellan, who's one of the top guys up here at Forestry England, who's going to discuss the current closure of Thrunton Woods, why you shouldn't come here, and hopefully let us know when the park's going to open again. So stay tuned. Okay guys, we made a video last week up here at Thrunton and it was not well received by people like the fire service, the mountain rescue and Forestry England. It was a pretty irresponsible thing to do. We did genuinely have good intentions of trying to persuade people not to come here, but we kind of glamorized the run and we shouldn't have done it. So we're here to make things right. You can see the big signs up. Thrunton Woods is definitely closed. Do not come here. I'm here to meet Alex McClellan, who is one of the top guys up here at Forestry England. We're going to meet him, discuss the current status of the park, and he's just going to advise you guys not to come here and hopefully when it can reopen. So keep watching. So as you can see guys, the car park is absolutely fenced off now. No access whatsoever. Signs all over. Do not come, do not park. Forestry work in progress. Okay everybody, we're here with Alex. Alex, great to meet you.
And you, good morning.
Thanks for meeting me.
Good.
If you can just tell everybody what your job role is at Forestry England.
Okay, so I'm the Recreation Public Affairs Manager for Forestry England, covering all the forests from the border right down to E69. Public access, recreation, motorsport, rallies, mountain biking events, running events, Kiel de Marathon, all that kind of comes into my remit, and trying to keep the forest safe for the public.
Great. Well, we are going to ask Alex a couple of questions, but before we do that, we need to go and get some safety equipment on, I believe.
Yeah, so this is really important. We're standing here wearing this clothing right now, yeah? So that's because we're outside the Thrunton Forest, which is a work site. It's now become an industrial work site with all the rules and regulations like you'd expect to find at a building site. So let's get dressed up and then we can go inside the forest.
Great. Okay, so we are now got the correct clothing on.
That's right.
We're allowed to be into the forest. So Alex, what is the current status of Thrunton Woods?
So we're trying to progress the site as quick as we can, and it's challenging conditions working amongst the crop. You know, the thing about Storm Arwen and the damage that was created, we've used the term kerplunk quite a lot to try and explain what it's like, and that's what it's like. So it's far safer for everybody to use the big forestry machines and people with chainsaws, because the operator's in the cab, he's using all the hydraulics etc safely, managing it is very difficult. But when the guys are working these machines, they can't see around them. They're in amongst trees, they're dealing with things, and we have had incidents to the public where they've come in amongst the work zone, and this is why we've had to put the heavy fencing up. We have to do the rules and regulations. We're progressing the site as quick as we can. The quicker we can get on with the job means the quicker we can get it reopened to the public, and we really want, it's not what Forestry England does is shut forests, that's not our business, but health and safety has to take #1 priority. It's a working forest and it's a natural environment, so sometimes the job gets slowed up and the public won't realise this. If a goshawk bird, for example, lands in a tree which is in amongst the work site stops. That's a law thing, we have to do that, we have to comply with the law. So not just are we trying to manage the site and tidy everything up, we're also working with the natural environment where actually species could come back. Now we're coming into the spring and summer months, we are trying to progress this work as quick as possible, tidy it up, get it reopened before these challenges come our way. We're standing amongst the timber stacks here. It's a very industrial area. This is the danger zone. These logs are absolutely safe, but they're not safe for the public to come and interfere with. We can see in the distance a big forwarder machine. When the forwarder is fully loaded with timber, that's running about 30 tonnes in very, very difficult ground conditions. So our kind of plea to the public is, work with us, keep the site safe, keep the operator safe, keep yourself safe, keep your child safe, keep your dog safe. The sooner the timber gets removed from here, it means we can reopen this site, and it means we'll have a bit of work to do on recreation and access. We're working with the private estate, and it's worth mentioning that actually Thrunton Wood is private. It is managed by Forestry England, but a fair chunk of it is actually privately owned. There is no legal access in this part of Thrunton Wood that we're starting. It's by permission. I think it's really important to share that. So this is why we really don't want to put safety fencing up to keep the public out. Given the incidents we've had here, we've had no choice. The key message is, let us get the work done. We all know how important it is for Thrunton Forest to be reopened for access. It's an important site in Northumberland, but there's good opportunities coming. We are looking at how we reopen the forest in a staged way, so we don't have to keep the whole forest shut. That's the good news. We don't have a date today on that, but we are working on that scenario now, working with the contractors, who I must say are very passionate to let the public back in. So although it's an industrial site and we have to manage it like this, these guys are really working hard at letting the public back in. They're really passionate about that. So I do want the public to understand that contractors really do want the public back in as quick as they can as well, in a safe way. So we're looking at all the options, how we can reopen part of the forest. We're looking at that now. We are looking at a timeline in the summer, and at some point all the timber will be removed, everything will be done, and then we can throw open the gates, and then all the public will be welcome. We will have a piece of work to do on rebuilding footpaths, looking at how it's all waymarked, and then we're looking at, as people will know, it's very popular for cycling in Thrunton Wood by permission, and any of the cycle trails which naturally came through the crops were by permission and supported by us, but we have to do a rethink. When we come to the next stage of managing the forest, the replanting will commence. The best way to describe what's going on is Storm Arwen fast forwarded, if you like, the overall plan for the forest. So we're looking at 50, 70, 100 years into the future, beyond our lifetimes. In that one night, it changed it completely, and we've now got to get back into the planning. How do we restock the crops, etc. Some of the forests would never have actually been fully felled. It would be what we call thinned out and allowed the understory to come through, so there's always a generation of trees happening. It was growing naturally. Storm Arwen changed it completely. So now, depending on interference from wildlife such as deer, etc., some areas actually will be fenced off. So that's the other part of the journey for the public, that to run through these stumps or mountain bike might not be able to happen for another 5-10 years while the young trees grow up again.
So the routes that we were all used to running and cycling on could have changed?
Absolutely.
Right.
And then the next part of the evolution is we need to protect, if we want to get natural regeneration happening, which is a good thing, because that means that birch and all sorts of lovely species come back in. Douglas fir will probably start coming back in naturally. You need to fence out the deer, because otherwise nothing will grow, and that's the same when you come to plant it. So it might be some areas, and it's good to discuss this now so the public are aware of the next evolution. Some of it will be fenced off, and it's the forest roads you can use.
Right.
Once you get to 5-7 years, once there's no potential damage of the deer eating all the trees, the fences get removed, and then you're into the next stage of forestry.
Right. So what are some of the dangers that the public can face if they come here at the moment? I know you've mentioned some of the machinery, but I know we're standing here amongst these piles of logs. Yep. I mean, I would imagine this is almost a playground attraction for,
right,
for children.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly. Yeah, and it's very sad, but I have to be. I'm always honest in my job, which should be. 2 children get died in Scotland in such a scenario where they clambered up onto a log stack a number of years ago. 2 children died, and that's serious. And that's why we're taking this site so seriously. It's very much in the profile of the public profile here. It's a very attractive place to come and see. It's very exciting to see machines working, to see timber come out to your site. We appreciate that it's great, because some people don't see this operation happen. It happens a lot with Kielder Forest because it's a big timber production area, as you'll know. But to do it in this scale at Thrunton, bear in mind was never planned. So the storm has brought that big industrial operation in real public view in Northumberland now, because we're in the real, the public facing forest where they get a lot more footfall every day. Kielder's very busy, but because Kielder's kind of well known for its operation, Thrunton's not, and that's what we think is quite a dynamic. You can see it from the public road, it looks really exciting, lots of things happening. Let us get through this period of time safely, and that means we can allow the public in safer. Some of the logs, if we may take a little walk.
Let's go.
Each log up there will be over a ton.
Yeah.
So you can soon start working out how many tons are in that log stack, and you know, if one of them, if we clambered up that right now, the timber wagons are coming in here and loading all the time, and the machines are feeding it, and the stacks are left quite stable. But timber's a natural thing, as we know, and in wet, damp conditions, etc. That's perfectly a safe stack at the moment, but not safe to walk up it. It's just not at all, and that's the danger zone. You know, half a dozen of them came down, that'll be an instant fatality on the individual going up the log stacks. And sadly, we have had reports of people going up the log stacks.
Right.
This is why we've had to put in the fencing. That's why we've had to move to the next level, so people understand. You wouldn't go into the middle of a construction site and start playing. You'll know there's been fatalities and injuries in building sites, and the health and safety executive takes that very seriously, and it takes the management of forestry very safely, as we do. I cannot keep reiterating enough, the sooner that the work can just proceed, which is safely, with minimal disruption from general public, means we can have the forest open for general access far quicker.
Right. So I think one of the most important questions I want to ask you is, if people come here, what are the consequences they may face?
Well, there's a number of consequences actually. One is the police can deal with them because it's a breach. It's very clearly a work site and it's private access. So the landowner can also prosecute because you shouldn't be in here. It's by permission that access is allowed. If somebody came and did something and they injured themselves quite badly, the health and safety executive can also chase them and prosecute, because again, there's big signs up telling you should not enter. It's an industrial work site. So you have to ask yourself a question: would you walk in the middle of the A1 and walk onto the fast lane knowing it's a really dangerous thing to do? I wouldn't. Don't know if you would. No. Well, that's what we're kind of doing here, and it might look peace and tranquility, I get that, and really in some ways quite aesthetically pleasing, but it's a work site. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Let us get the timber away. Let's get the site reopened safely, and then that means it's open for future generations like it was before. And the beauty is, if you think about it, it's a very short window of time that this disruption is happening, because some of these trees are 50, 60, 70 years old. When was the forest ever shut before, except the COVID stuff, which was quite, I've never seen that in my career, to go through so many forest closures because of COVID, then Storm Arwen. But actually, if you think of a lifetime of a tree, it's going to go on for 70, 80 years. For 70 or 80 years, you've got a wonderful backdrop to come and run, come and do stargazing at night. It's a wonderful forest. Come mountain biking day or night, do nature watching, get the binoculars out. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we've got a short window of disruption if you think about the lifetime of a forest, have we not? Yeah. That has been shut to the public for a number of weeks. You know, it's been shut, we know, since 26th of November 2021. You could say, well, come on, that's now heading towards 18 months. 18 months out of a lifespan of 70 years actually isn't a big time, is it? No. So I think we need to think about the real environment of the habitat in the forest. It's a working landscape, it's a breathing landscape, and you know, the great news is the squirrels are coming back in, the wildlife's regenerating, and trees are regenerating. That's the other great thing. It won't be very long before, I'd like to think, by the time you get to 5, actually all this will become an historical moment in time. So that's the bit we have to ask people, is just be patient. We have fully reopened Simonside's the good news. Yeah. Simonside's fully reopened. Please go and enjoy Simonside. We've even reopened all the forest roads in Kidland, so for people who want that, a real big day out of running or cycling or horse riding up into the Cheviots, access is pretty good again. So it might not feel it to the general public watching this today, but we think actually we're in a really good place for access in Northumberland now, and we are working really hard to get as much of the county's forest reopened by Easter. Then we're looking for May. We're not going to give you a timeline on this because
I was going to ask you that.
We're not doing it.
You're not.
Because, well, you know how it
I've
goes.
heard that you hinted that summer was going to be.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if we put a date in and we don't meet it for whatever challenge comes our way, that upsets people. We don't want to do that.
Okay.
We want to bring you good news. timber's gone. We've looked at some options. Like I said earlier in the interview, we're speaking with the contractors how we look at different options right now. The challenge people might not realise is there's still a lot of the forest to be checked. That's the other thing that it's important to say. And if the general public could guarantee, and this is the big ask of your audience, to just stay at the forest roads, that makes life a lot easier. But the general public love getting amongst trees, which we understand. Some of the forest has not been checked yet. Some of the forest is still to be worked. So although we're seeing all the timber stacked up here, there are other parts of the forest yet to be started. So that's why the whole forest is shut. But we are looking at options. It's great news, I keep saying that. We will, I think by the time we get to probably late May, we will be able to say something differently on where we are now. So bear with us. It's going to get reopened as quick as we can. We are all desperate to get the work completed and we can throw the gates open and let people in.
Brilliant. Well, Alex, thank you very, very much for meeting me
Thanks
today.
so much.
Can I encourage everybody to share this video around to your running friends, cycling, hiking friends, just so we get the message out. Thrunton Woods is absolutely closed at the moment. Do not come here, and I'm sure Alex will let us know when we're open for business.
Absolutely. And what I'd also like to say, it'd be lovely to have some sort of event to celebrate that fact as well. So let's get our thinking caps on. Let's get the forest reopened in a bit of a, really nice way of welcoming people back.
That sounds fantastic. Brilliant. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next video.